Welcome to Marketing Mistakes and How to Avoid Them. I'm Stacy Jones, the founder of influencer marketing and branded content agency Hollywood Branded. This podcast provides brand marketers a learning platform for top experts to share their insights and knowledge on topics which make a direct impact on your business today. While it is impossible to be well versed on every topic and strategy that can improve bottom line results, my goal is to help you avoid making costly mistakes of time, energy, or money, whether you are doing a DIY approach or hiring an expert to help. Let's begin today's discussion.
Welcome to Marketing Mistakes and How to Avoid Them. Here's your host, Stacy Jones.
Hi, welcome to Marketing Mistakes and How to Avoid Them. I'm Stacy Jones. I'm so happy to be here with you all today, and I want to give a very warm welcome to Yann Barbarroux. Yann is the CEO and co-founder and head of analytics of Flyion, a service designed to help travelers get compensated in case of flight delays and cancellations. With a Master of Science focused in computer engineering and over 15 years of experience in capital markets, risk management, and finance technology, Yann found a way to leverage blockchain as a solution. Knowing that 70% of delayed flights remain unclaimed or never get reimbursed to travelers, the platform Yann created helps travelers, including business travelers, by leveraging cutting-edge technology to trim costs and bring simplicity to the process. Today, we're going to talk about not only how technology and how blockchain technology provides new solutions, but also how to navigate the future of business travel. We'll learn what has worked from Yann's perspective, what should be avoided, and how some businesses are missing the mark. Yann, welcome.
How are you?
I'm well. How are you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. So my story is interesting. So I grew up and studied in France. So this engineering school in Paris, master degree, early 2000.
Yeah.
And that was the dot-com bubble, as you probably remember.
Yeah.
None of us is a millennial here, so we know those crises. So that's why we're not too freaked out about what's going on. And at that point, unfortunately, I was, still in my 20s, and I was freaking out. And I was kind of giving up on finding a job, out of school, even though it's pretty good school, right? It's like top
Right.
5, whatever. And at that point, I was kind of signed up to go to an MBA. I wanted to continue just education. So, to get past the first wave of layoffs and the crisis. And I was signed up in another business school in Paris. So I was kind of saying not a job until probably 2003 or 2004. And then, weirdly enough, I received an email from my dad. And my dad is someone that's, I consider trustworthy, obviously. And at that point, obviously, the state of the internet was different. But the email was saying, forward this email to 10 of your friends, and you can receive a Nokia cell phone for free, right? So now, AKA a scam or a spam or whatever you want to call it. But at that point, I'm like, okay, that seems legit. My dad is a trustworthy guy, so I'm gonna just do it. And I went ahead and sent to 10 of my friends. One of my friends was in New York, and he was doing an internship. And next thing I know, this guy, Adrian, said, "Well, excuse me, can you remind me the field of study that you're actually graduating right now? Isn't it internet and computer security?" I was like, "Yeah, why are you asking?" He's like, "This is a spam. What are you doing with this?" I'm like, "I apologize, Adrian." And I didn't mean to just flood your inbox. This is just something my dad sent. So.
And I really wanted that Nokia phone.
Exactly. I was so excited about Nokia because Nokia at that point was the iPhone, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so long story short, he said, "Well, I accept your apology. And by the way, this one guy, Nick, is leaving in 1 month and they're trying to replace him. Why don't you send your resume?" And that's how I got my first job in New York, by spamming people randomly and, getting accepted in this new world and new country that I didn't know at all. It's a weird turn of events. It's probably as you probably know as much as I do, the biggest decision in life, I usually
The tiniest.
Yeah. I really a random, course of events, right?
Yeah.
So that was my entry point in US. And in 2003, I essentially started my first job in Wall Street in New York, and I never left. So 17 years and counting. And it's a pleasure. I love this country, I love this city. I live in Brooklyn now. so, to get a little more focus on, your podcast, your conversation. So I've been navigating between finance, capital markets, and technology the past 17 years, right? So both skill set that I have. I also enjoy the tremendous turmoil of 2008. Obviously, that was also an interesting part of history to be involved in. But long story short, about 3 years ago, my now co-founder Sebastian, who's also a schoolmate, who's just joined innovation group in the West Coast. He's married to a girl from Texas, so he's also in the US after all these years. And he said you should be interested in blockchain. So cryptos, digital assets, blockchain is the future of finance. You have, both technology and finance skill sets. What the hell are you doing now? And I agree with him. I said, this is a wake-up call. I gotta deep into it. I need to understand what it is. It took me quite a while, right? I don't know how much you know about it. It's counterintuitive. It's very shady at times. It's very opaque. But he has a tremendous amount of innovation and disruption power to it. And I get seduced to it. And then, we're starting off by doing a lot of advisory market research. So it was all about trying to understand where most of the value of cryptos and blockchain can be brought to the general public, mainstream. And, we started out by, let's say, currency trading or automobile, supply chain management, or, healthcare records, try to avoid duplication of records and, digital identity, all this good stuff, which are in, very frankly, amazing use cases for the blockchain. And then we stumbled upon this insurance automation. And, that's what I've been working on since last year. Again, I don't need to spend minutes on my startups, but this is essentially what led me to be interested in more deep tech, variety of product development, and also a new market, a new clientele, which is absolutely fascinating because the amount of innovation you see in the technology actually translates in how the grand market is actually perceiving your technology and your product. And there's a huge amount of education that attached to, trying to sell the great economic value, the great efficiency value of a certain, deep tech product for your average Joe or average Jane, right? And that's been a challenge, but that's been, extremely fascinating.
And so that caused you to launch Flyion. Is that how you say it?
Right.
Flyion?
Flyion, yeah, that's correct.
And so how are you getting the word out? How are you sharing that you have this new venture that is driven by blockchain, that is a solution product that helps protect you and your wallet? How are you sharing that with the world right now, besides podcasts like this?
Yes, exactly. So I'm going to address the elephant in the room first, right? COVID is front and center. And actually today you want to see the silver lining when it presents itself, right? The V-shape, recovery plus the better employment numbers and the great reaction in the stock market. We got to take it when it presents itself. I think, it's a good sign that we're getting to a better stage. It's going to take some time, no doubt, but we want to think that, we passed maybe the worst of it. And travel industry up until actually 24 hours ago was the lame duck, right, of the whole story. That was essentially, some people would say travel is not going to go back ever. Travel is never going to go back to even a normal operation. It's going to take 5 years. All this narrative is saying being extremely pessimistic about travel and especially flying, right? It's been quite a bit of a drawback, for my endeavor, and also any travel tech company in my situation. Even the mature travel company, I've been suffering and bleeding quite a lot. So working with COVID has been the main headache and also the main challenge that we've been taking, right? So now, going to my startups, and again, not trying to sell it so much, but we believe that, right now it's a great time to reflect, right, on two things. The first one is the user experience. The traveler has been extremely frustrated and disappointed about airlines, airport disruptions, insurance being not there when they need it, when they need it the most, being kept in the dark, trying to enforce legal action in order to avoid paying back the clients. I'm not advocating even my product so much, but let's say Tokyo Olympics, the Olympics
that may be happening, may not be happening, was happening, now it's happening next year, and if it's not happening next year, it's never happening. That Olympics?
That one, exactly. You get it. This is where people stand right now, like in a total vague and total dark. And but they attach numbers to it. They say, 2 to 3 billion. Maybe it's going to end up 10 billion loss for the Olympics, and they most likely not going to be covered, right? And then they had insurance in place, business interruption insurance. This is something in place. This is standard. They're going to get away of not paying back. So I'm saying, like, this whole client experience, either retail client or corporate client, has been terrible, right? And the second one is essentially take a step back, trying to reflect and saying there might be other solution that we need to explore now. And technology is here, right? With the buzzwords, machine learning, automation, through blockchain and whatnot. This is not just an exercise of trying to be fancy with the best product design. It's about finding the best efficiency for the clients, the best possible saving, the best possible speed for a refund. And people are just going to be like open to it now. They're going to be saying, we need a new normal. This is not this is not the same normal as it was for many reasons. Then how about the product offering? We want to see new stuff. And this has been like, on top of our heads, the whole time, right? And quite honestly, I've been staying positive. I've been staying optimistic. I think this is almost like the best time, for me to attack the market. It's very ironic, but in the age of COVID, new ideas are going to be crystallizing, right? If they're good enough, right? Yeah. Some people are going to be suffering, there's no doubt. Some businesses are going to be dying. And this is just like a normal cycle of the economy. And this is a very harsh one. This is very difficult. I think that we're going to have better stuff coming out of the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, I think what's interesting with COVID right now is that the businesses that we're seeing tumbling are the ones that have been on the brink and who have been reporting issues or have internally had issues because they hadn't streamlined into the new world, the new modern, the new land of technology, obviously. But I think the background on how you started the company or how you got into this is really interesting, right? Yeah. And then the deviation into COVID it's spot on. So here you are. So when did you actually launch Flyion? When did you start pushing it? When was it packaged to? We're ready for customers.
So the beta version is live since last month. So it's a pretty early, kind of introduction to the product to the client. So we have a beta community that's very excited. People see the value right away. So in order to get that, on the marketing and potential mistake, I can give my testimony. I can witness, everything that I did wrong. And
you've done something wrong? You didn't come off the gate, because every brand that I know, owner that launches, they're spot on. They never make mistakes along the way at all. They're perfect.
I'm trying to find whatever I did right, actually. That's so I've been helped by this wonderful woman, Bambi Weevil. She's our marketing advisor, and we've been working around the clock. And it's very interesting. The so many ways we tried to create FOMO, to create some traction, to create some excitement. So we're starting off by building, narrative messaging, so content marketing. Back in December, January. And when we kind of iron out whatever we want to offer, which is 50%, saving, get paid immediately, that kind of stuff. I think it was very clear that there's an obvious client value, and we blasted using automation tool. I think the one tool, I don't know if I can name company or.
Oh, of course, please. Yeah, that's fine. I drop names all the time.
Engage Bay, which is pretty decent tool. I don't even know all of them, but it allowed us to actually reach out to 11,000. I mean, to me, it's a lot because I'm not used to so I think anywhere between 10 and 15,000 seems start to be sizable in terms of outreach, and we had abysmal conversion rate. It was in the I think it was less than 100 or something. So you're thinking way under 1%, and that was painful because we had to just scrub and find manually and go on LinkedIn and go on those let's say conference website to find speakers at conference. We went the route of blockchain users being our first target audience, and everything was manual. It takes weeks to collect the email distribution list, and when you're happy with the list, the target, then you blast, and you get nothing, and then you obviously blame everything. So now we have an obvious culprit, being COVID, but at that point it was not severe enough, so we had only ourselves to blame, I guess. And all that was very instructive. We learned a lot. I guess volume doesn't solve much in marketing. Content marketing is probably more than half the battle, maybe 80% of it, of trying to refine, to tweak the messaging, to simplify the language, to get the right words so people just register and print in their brain that's something they might be interested to spend more than 3 seconds, on their attention span or something like that. So that's very tough, right? I'm an engineer. For me, transacting and executing is just a given, right? So I have a market to deal with. I'm not naturally a salesperson, so having to convince people that my product is amazing was why do I need to do that? And then, yeah, it's actually the toughest challenge I've been facing so far.
So harder than actually coming up and creating a product is figuring out how to market it and get people to use it.
Absolutely,
yeah.
No doubt. I learned my lesson.
Yeah,
I'm in pain, but I'm better now than I was 6 months ago because I'm less ignorant.
What are you using? So what are you seeing right now? So knowing that you signed up, you did this email blast, right? You're like, okay, they're going to come. I sent it out. Let's just wait. Here they come. And then you saw less than 100 people of the 11,000 people actually click even and do anything. So what did you do then? Yeah,
just a caveat. The click rate was decent.
Okay.
We had double digits click.
Okay.
So that was pretty decent. The sign up was abysmal.
Okay.
So it seems that we didn't have the carrot, right? So we thought about the carrot and we're still thinking about it. But that was another challenge, another story. So we're thinking, okay, the product is great for what it is. But again, we catering to younger crowd, Gen Z, millennials. They rarely pay attention to you. So you want to offer maybe to the first 200 early adopters something. And then there was the heart of COVID, early April when we think about it. And I came about with this genius idea, quote unquote. I thought it was genius to, kind of put the logo on a face mask and offer as a perk, as a giveaway. And I mean, now looking back, it was not that bad. I think it's still a decent idea, but I get pushback from every single person I was talking about because it was you're an opportunistic Wall Street bastard. You want to take advantage of the face mask situation and people dying to market your startups. What is wrong with you? And I'm like, okay, it seems like liability risk is actually much greater than potential reward. So we kind of gave up on that one. The next one, which is still in the making, we want to blast email. We want to target audience with this giveaway is potentially helping the local community through DoorDash, Uber Eats, Seamless by offering promo code to help, local restaurants. So you sign up to our beta, to our product, and you get, a $15 coupon. And then it's kind of a win-win-win, right? Everybody wins, so it's great. I mean, I'm still spending the money for the client, but anyway. So that one should be like something we'll be probably rolling out the next few weeks. And the last one was actually much more fun, a little gimmicky. I found like, some sort of perks that I can put my logo on as being the flip-flops. So we're thinking like forward, like revenge vacation, right? Quote unquote revenge vacation, or the hashtag that's been like, going on. And you get your flip-flops for your beach vacation, and then you can book your flights and be protected, right? So that's kind of the ways to do it. And we might as well do it actually. But right now it's still like kind of developing. So, maybe in a month's time, that can be a good timing for us.
Well, if you need some more ideas, just because I love pop culture, that's what we do, you should probably consider looking at, if you haven't already, travel influencers and working with them so that you could really get the message out about the importance of this, using their content and their marketing platform to share and talk about and drive the downloads and signups. We also have really cool opportunities with there's some television shows. It's not television, it's content that's produced that airs in airport when people get back to being at airports. So, and they are on a lot of business shows as well, where the content airs, where they'll do a segment and talk about you, and then give you and serve you up to a very on target flying audience, or an audience that flies often. Right. And then you also have your airline magazines you can look at advertising in. You even have the backseat tablets now that you can do segments and get content in. It just can start getting a little bit more expensive on that. So there's definitely things you can be doing out there that I bet you will be doing in the near future.
Okay, I'm going to jump onto exactly what you said. So we had those two ideas, two of the many ideas you brought up. So the first one is the tablets. So having like targeted, because you can geolocate someone going to LaGuardia, to JFK, and obviously that they're going to take a flight, so therefore trip protection is on point. So that's something we are looking at. The second one is travel blogger, travel writer, and digital nomads. Actually, that's becoming pretty much 99% of our niche market we want to cater to, because it's kind of a win-win as well, because they love traveling, their business is traveling, and they are in a situation where they are in trouble a lot, and they would enjoy getting refunded in a snap, right? And then if that happens, the experience is good. They're going to say, thanks to so and so, my experience was great. So that's a natural win for everyone. So exactly, like going the route of airlines magazines, probably quite outside of our budget for now, but we never know. It's a good point. Yeah. And then the second thing is, talking about niche markets, because you gotta start somewhere, right? There's 4.6 billion travelers a year. So the second one is the B2B, so the corporate travelers. Again, a market that's going to be challenged for many reasons, and maybe Zoom is going to be replacing a lot of those client meetings in person. So that's fair. But we believe that corporate travel is going to survive. It's going to be like becoming something else. But there's also like some technology and solution that's going to be help them doing the best thing. So we actually like kind of gearing towards a little bit of more B2B marketing. And we're thinking, let's say mid-market, 1,000 employees, consulting firm, travels a lot, sales rep. They might have 10,000 flyers a year. They might be enticed by saving, $500,000 a year on T&Es, travel expenses, right? So our tool can do that as well. It's not like a retail model, but it's very much like, a company-wide model. So that's very interesting to actually pivot that way as well.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, I would think that the B2B industry, especially in the small to mid-sized companies, is going to be an absolute sweet spot for you guys, because of, you book travel and then you think you're going on it. And with COVID, that city might get shut down in the near future. We have no idea what's going to happen. So,
Yeah.
oh.
And you probably know it, but 100% of the flights, at least US domestic, are connecting flights now.
Yeah.
So that means that more disruptions, more delays. Anyway, I'm done selling.
More lost luggage as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, everything is going to be an interesting world that we're traversing in.
Yeah, that's correct.
So with blockchain, it's such an interesting usage case that you've come up, because that's what you're leveraging. You're leveraging blockchain technology to make your solution work, correct? And
yes.
Then with that, I mean, so many people don't understand blockchain, and we've had a number of different guests who've come on, and they have done a really good job of explaining it. But could you dive in? And you started doing it before, and you gave a glimpse of it, but what is your view? Like, how do you think, how would you explain how blockchain works?
Yeah, so the first stage of using blockchain, and there's many of them, but the way that, it came across as a low-hanging fruit is essentially like the streamlining of the claim refund, right? So insurance refund never happens the way you want, and there's many reasons for it. Let's take my story for a second. I was traveling to Denver to see my co-founder, Sebastian. He lives there now. And I was on the tarmac for 4 hours at LaGuardia. And the reason being, the bathroom lights was blinking. The light in the toilet was blinking. Per protocol, the pilot is not allowed to actually take off. Do you think I get refunded for it? Obviously not, right? And the mere thinking about going online, pick up the phone, spending hours on the phone, following up for weeks and months to hopefully get a refund, a reimbursement, was just like, too much work. Forget about it. So how blockchain works is it does three things. The first one, it detects flight time automatically, thanks to the API technology. Second, it activates the legal policy automatically, because now you can simplify the terms. 45 minutes, you're good. 46 minutes, you're delayed. So therefore, the policy can activate at 46 minutes. And third, it refunds money directly to your wallet, right? The three things, which are the three pillars of blockchain automations, can work literally like in 15 minutes. And maybe in 5 years from now, it's going to be in 1 minute, because the technologies could be much more mature. And for that reason, we're going from an average of 6 weeks, claim insurance refund, to literally like few minutes. So that's a tremendous amount of, time saved, and also cost savings. It's as much as 85% cost saving, right? And with 85% cost saving on the operation, we essentially reward the client with better pricing, right? So that's what we do. And obviously there's going to be some profit margin for us, but the first goal is to give the best value to the client.
And so with that, does that take in effect, the type of ticket someone's buying? Like in your case, whether the class of ticket, or is it literally just more so about flight delays and cancellations?
Yeah, it's a little bit of the tickets that you buy, because we have some sort of classification per risk type. Let's say you fly to Miami in August with hurricane season, then all of a sudden it might be a little more expensive, right? Or you fly to Chicago in the middle of the winter, February, and obviously like snowstorm can be a problem. But your average flights is going to be covered regardless, right? And they're all covered, but they have a little bit of a pricing fluctuation in terms of protection premium depending on where you're going, right? But that being said, we don't have to be attached to the airlines. We don't have to be attached to the airport. We view more of an economic value reward to the clients. So everything is calculated and calibrated based on the risk that you're taking within your flights, and is agnostic of the destination or the airlines, essentially.
Okay. And then going back to blockchain, I was just curious on that, how that worked with you all. But going back to blockchain, you came up with, okay, I want to use blockchain to solve this problem.
Right.
And were you already, just from all of your work, you spent 15 years, I think, in finance technology and capital markets, and is that what drove you to blockchain as a solution? Or was it that you wanted to, did you have the idea of blockchain, of using it to drive the solution? Or was it that you were looking for a solution and you chose that blockchain might be the answer? That makes sense.
It's a little bit of both. I'm starting off by a personal headache. So I have my story in Denver. I told you also another story going to Europe to visit my family for Christmas. They lost my luggage for 3 weeks. They only refunded half of the money. It took me, so they found their luggage, but it took them 9 months to refund me. So that's, horrible story. And everyone has a nightmare story around those things. So that came from personal pain point. Technology, it's, for me, it's a big belief, right? It's a big belief that we're driving to a very different world that we're knowing right now. The amount of automation, the amount of streamlining, the amount of intelligence that's going to be brought by those systems are going to be transformative for personal experience, not only businesses. And we think, we think beyond the automation of blockchain, which is, okay, you can get refunded in minutes. That's great. The real incentive is, attached to the concept of decentralized finance and decentralized insurance. I don't know if you've heard of it, but essentially, you can think about, mutualizing the underwriting risk, the underwriting insurance for health, for travel, for, let's say, water damage. And you can essentially use blockchain to distribute your risk among, micro investors or micro underwriters, right? And the real benefit of this decentralized insurance model is we can actually reach the uninsured, right? The same way that you can reach the unbanked in, let's say, Nigeria, Ecuador, Latin America, India, by using those microcredits or microbanking using mobile phone, right? Which is, you don't need like a real bank account. You can actually transfer money, use your account on your mobile, because now we have the technology for it. Same thing is going to be happening for insurance. We're going to have decentralized insurance helping, let's say you get a house somewhere in Africa, you don't have any money to insure it for water damage or whatever it is. Then now, because of micro insurance, you're going to be able to actually buy insurance for $1 a month or something like that, because it's going to be so distributed, so diversified that, we're going to be reaching out to billions and billions of, people that don't have insurance right now. So this is like kind of the grand vision that I have. That's why blockchain makes sense more than automation.
And the risk is just so, it's lowered because it's just spread out so far that whenever there are hiccups that happen in someone's life, the dollars to actually recover are offset by so much else that's out there. And so it's just able to be this beast that breathes and stays alive and keeps on going.
You explained it better than me. That's exactly
the beast that breathes and stays alive. I think your explanation was better. But
are you talking about the dog behind you?
Yes, she's like, if you're watching the video, yes, she is just curled up and has decided that this is where she's going to be today. So blockchain, I think it's so interesting because companies who aren't thinking about blockchain now as solutions probably should. And it's hard because people don't even know what blockchain means in general. There's very, very early adopters who are like, I'm on board blockchain. I know what cryptocurrency is. I know how to crypto trade. But that's a world that we're all going into. And these, very foreign words are like back in the 80s when you sat there talking about, the internet, and it's in the same place.
Exactly.
And so this is a world that's going to revolutionize businesses, far in the future, but really just in the months and the years ahead. Yeah.
So, I mean, there's several ways of characterizing it. So, some of the kind of advocates of blockchain saying like, we are in the third era of internet. The first one was the Internet of Information, and the dot-com bubble was like, the first like real crisis around it. Second one was Internet of Things. So we're starting to connect devices. We're trying to like interconnect our world, our hardware with the information. And blockchain is characterized as Internet of Money, right? So this is very much, the way you can actually make it democratize money via a very simple concept, right? There's no central agent. There's no central body of decision making. This is money for everyone. I mean, again, this is good in theory. It's been hard to actually adopt or convince people. It's proof check. There's been a lot of bad stories about frauds. People using blockchain and cryptocurrency for other meanings that are not supposed to be productive. But I think the fundamental of what was written in 2008, which was essentially at the dawn of the financial crisis after Lehman collapse, was the like power to the people, right? So it's a real thing, right? I'm not advocating my project now. I'm really thinking like this decentralized money, this internet of money, it's something that's going to just how do you say it, like crystallize, materialize. Maybe it could be a matter of decades. I think it could be faster than that. But the value that you store doesn't have to be a bill, doesn't have to be a dollar bill, it doesn't have to be a piece of coin. It can be like this amount of information that's stored somewhere and that's secured through some fancy algorithm, whatever it is. And we're going to be, we're not going to be staying materialized the way we are for another 100 years, right? It has to be transforming to another state. And blockchain is one of the solutions. It is the best solution so far. There's some theories saying like blockchain is not going to be, kind of like, being the standard. Maybe something else could be coming and it's going to be better. But at least, being aware of what it brings and how it's being implemented and all the good things that can be happening is very much the first battle you want to get involved in.
And with your background of computer engineering that you have, I mean, this is a space that, you're obviously someone who's geared to be, you're a tech geek. You like tech. I can say that. You have to. I just know I'm a tech geek too. But so, you're an early adopter. You came in, you saw something that could be a solution. But would you say that this is something that companies of every size, every type should be trying to at least familiarize themselves so that they can figure out how this is going to fit into their future? Or do you think it's still early days where they should sit back and wait and see where things start building before they start getting involved?
I think we need to project ourselves to, the mid-90s, right? When you're representing, let's say, an accounting firm, the internet, AOL and Yahoo, and saying like, you'll see in the future, you'll be using those screens to actually run your ledger reconciliation and all the good stuff that you're doing on paper. That's going to be all, like run by software and exchange. All this money, virtual money, is actually going to be exchanged through those Internet of Things, so to speak. I think we're going through the same phase. So now, if you reflect on the fact that we are year number 12 of the creation of Bitcoin, right, the first cryptocurrencies ever.
12 years since Bitcoin came out, and probably most of our listeners have never bought Bitcoin. 2008,
right?
Okay.
And I really like that the fact you characterizing me as an early adopter. I'm, in the grand scheme of things, I am, but I was essentially 8 years later than the real early adopters, right? Anyway, so I'm fine getting that compliment, but I think now is the time to actually make it more democratized. I think, big firms are actually working on blockchain as we speak, and they've been working on blockchain for 3-5 years. There's no doubt about it, right? So I'm thinking about like big banks, big car industrials, pharmaceutical companies, obviously all the credit cards, the payment services such as Swift, everything is dealing with money exchange. They're gonna have to catch up with the bandwagon. So that's gonna be happening, and this has been happening for years. Now you're thinking about SMEs, right? Small businesses, are they gonna be so incentivized to be part of the blockchain? I think the big box solution to manage maybe accounting using blockchain is not right the minute. So that's going to take so many years. The possibility of accepting Bitcoin, let's say, or any cryptocurrencies as a mean of payment for their own goods, let's say a grocery store, is actually completely in the money, pun unintended. I think and then I was actually going to my grocery store. Now the ATM has Bitcoin. The ATM has dollar and Bitcoin. And I think that's, people are just starting to say, okay, what if, the central bank just doesn't do its job because, politics.
Because the world collapses because of COVID and riots and protests.
For all those reasons, all of a sudden, Bitcoin becomes this, kind of the unparalleled or the parallel way of trying to get to transfer money without having some sort of intermediary saying yes, no, right? And interfering with the amount of value that you could be transacting.
So are there any, other points of advice you want to give on blockchain? I want to make sure that we share, how people can sign up so that we can try to get you some more users, because I think that would be something that people should at least be testing out. But any last words on, blockchain and technology and advice there?
It's a very good question. So first, appreciate that you offered for me to share my website. So my website is flyion.io, flyion.io. And the beta product is /beta, so you can find on the landing page, and then you can sign up. And to that point, it's going to sound pretty ironic. The product is not crypto friendly because we wanted to make it so transparent that people don't think that we have a Bitcoin business on the back of it, right? So when you sign up, you can pay with your credit card, Apple Pay, Google Pay. It's not about crypto, right? The technology is the automation of everything I discussed. So, and then it brings to my point, your second question, my second question being, what kind of advice I would give to people that would be interested or would want to actually launch a project that are similar or for other use cases. I think blockchain was extremely trendy, buzzwordy, 2017, 2018. And unfortunately, we suffered the malfunction of a bunch of clowns, and I'm not including myself in this bucket. I think there was definitely some people that were doing that for the trend, for the buzz, and to scam money. But there's no doubt about it. They were all arrested, and the bleeding stopped. So there's absolutely no malfunction about startup project using blockchain at the moment. And what I would advise is trying to be genuine, more of a bottom-up approach, trying to find a real-life use case that you want to resolve. You want to find a frustration, a pain point of maybe in the healthcare industry where you think, the information doesn't circulate as fast as you want, and maybe the number of beds at Mount Sinai or Beth Israel or whatever hospitals where it could have been shared in a snap using blockchain information shared didn't happen. And this is very bad because people were dying, people were sick, and all of a sudden that legitimized blockchain usage. If you come from the top down, you're saying, well, I know I'm going to be doing some blockchain stuff. I just need to find my product fit. And then you're going counter waves. You're not doing the right thing, right? Using the blockchain as a buzzword in order to get funded, in order to get your product marketed it's just an old story now. It doesn't work. So, it's a waste of time.
So it's more so you really need to dive in and make sure that there's a solution there at the end of the road where it's going to provide a true mechanism that makes your business better.
That's correct.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show today and sharing your insights and your advice. And we'll make sure that all your information is in the show notes so that people can check out and visit the website and learn more information as well.
Thank you very much for having me. That was a pleasure.
Of course.
It was very insightful. And I'm going to pass a good word. If you look for some other talented people, I'm happy to pass a good word.
Perfect. Well, thank you.
All right.
And to all of our listeners, thank you for tuning in to Marketing Mistakes and How to Avoid Them. I look forward to chatting with you on our next podcast.